it's Rabbit, and I'm going to be sharing with you in this video a couple of tips and recommendations that I have for you for the winter months and how to kind of take care of your hair, or at least ensure that you don't suffer too much damage during these months. I get asked quite a bit about whether or not my hair care routine actually changes between the different seasons, and honestly it doesn't change that much, but I still thought I would kind of share just a couple of things with you guys, things that I think you should be looking into, especially if you are prone to your hair kind of not looking so good during the winter. These 5 things may be able to turn that around. So my first thing that I think that you should be examining is how much heat you're actually applying to your hair. And in general, I think it's important for people to be mindful of the ways that they're styling their hair and how much heat is being applied to it. But I have found in my experience talking with friends and just talking with you guys on the internet that during the winter you tend to be a bit more meticulous about ensuring that your hair is dry before you go outside. And it makes sense, you know, no one wants to go out in 20-degree weather with sopping wet hair. I mean, you might get a cold, your hair might freeze, and then it'll suffer damage from that. It's just a bad idea. So because of that, you tend to either blow dry it a bit excessively to get it really, really dry, or you will prefer to just straighten it instead of wearing it naturally curly. I mean, I don't know the mentality behind it for everyone, but I've just seen that a lot of people tend to do this. So for me, I think that that might be a little hidden source of extra damage over the winter months. So, I mean, maybe that's not your issue because if you're like me, you don't use any heat at any time of the year, you just air dry. But if you do use heat, just try to look into how much you're using and whether or not you're applying more heat to your hair during the winter than you are the summer, because that could be the source of damage for you. Okay, my next 2 tips kind of go together, so I'm just gonna lump them up here for you. And they are to 1, make sure you're moisturizing your hair, and 2, look into using some sort of oil or incorporating something that's gonna help seal in that moisture. So these are things that you should clearly be doing all year round, especially if you're wanting your hair to be healthy all the time. In the wintertime especially, you must make sure that your hair is moisturized, particularly your ends, because that tends to be the area that splits and just frays a lot when it's cold outside. So really what this comes down to is just make sure that you're using a conditioner as often as possible. If you don't wash your hair every day or get your hair wet every day, I would highly suggest at least doing a deep conditioner weekly. I don't deep condition my hair at all, but I know for a lot of people this is something that helps quite a bit during the winter. So conditioning your hair, keeping it moisturized, make sure that is going on. And then again, to reiterate, using an oil. For me, I like olive oil, jojoba oil, coconut oil. You can really use whatever you have on hand, but just using that to kind of seal and lock in that moisture once you've already put on your conditioner, you should be in really good shape. My 4th tip for you might sound a bit intuitive, but I'm going to say it anyway. Make use of protective hairstyles during the winter. I don't know about where you guys live. Maybe if you're somewhere that's warm all year round, this isn't something to think about. But when I was living in Kansas, and now that we're back in the Midwest because we're in Colorado now, it gets so freaking cold in the wintertime, and it's windy and the air is really dry. So protective hairstyles are your friend. 2 styles in particular that I like because they're easy, they're low maintenance, and you can do them in less than 5 minutes before you run out the door. They are braiding your hair and putting your hair in buns. So for braiding your hair, I'm not a big fan of really small braids that I see some people do, just because I've noticed that some girls tend to do it a little too tightly and it kind of pulls on the edges of their hair. And I mean, if you like micro braids, you know, that's fine. But what I would suggest just for quick, easy, protective braiding is to just do like a single braid in the back or the side, or just splitting your hair into 1 or 2 sections and just braiding those pieces. I mean, for me, it works really well to do it that way, and I know that my hair is protected from the wind and all of the other stuff that comes with the wintertime. Bunning kind of works similarly, as long as you're just throwing your hair up on top of your head or as a little side bun. You know, it's really easy to just do it and go, and you don't have to worry about the wind tossing your hair around. Kind of piggybacking off of these 2, another protective style that you can keep in mind is making use of hats. So whenever you put your hair in a braid or you put your hair in a bun, you can just stuff that into a hat and go outside, and you should be, again, good to go. So those 3 methods tend to work for me in the wintertime. So hopefully they'll work for you. The last tip that I have for you guys, and this might sound a bit weird compared to the other ones, but it's to really, really be mindful about your overall health. I think during the spring and the summer, people tend to exercise more and care more about what they are consuming than people tend to in the wintertime. And I'm not sure if it's just because during the spring and summer, you have to worry about squeezing your body into a really skimpy bikini, whereas in the wintertime, you've got sweaters and jackets to hide your rolls. But regardless of whether you have more motivation in the summertime to be healthy, I think that it's really crucial to one's hair to have a healthy interior. So really just making sure that you're healthy on the inside is going to reflect on the outside. And for me especially, I've noticed if my nutrition is not doing so well, or if I'm kind of sick because of my Crohn's disease, it shows almost immediately in my nails and in my hair. So it's just something to keep in mind. I know not everyone is as susceptible as others, and you can probably live off Doritos and beer and your hair is still gorgeous, but that's not the case for everyone. So just again, kind of like the first tip about heat, just look into it and kind of gauge whether or not you are as active. Are you like exercising as much? Are you eating as well? Because that could be another overlooked factor as to why your hair is not as shiny or not as healthy in the winter as it is in the summertime. Alrighty guys, that is it from me. I hope that these tips were helpful, or even if they weren't really novel and you've heard of these before, or maybe you're already doing most of these things, I thought it would still be nice for me to just consolidate this information to a video, since I do get asked this frequently, and it is infinitely easier for me to just refer people to a video than to write the same thing 20 billion times. And for some reason, it just got so dark outside and now it is bright again. That is so weird. But okay, that's it from me guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach me by leaving a comment down below, or you can send me a message on my Facebook page. The link is also found down below in the description box. Alright guys, take care and try to stay warm because it's getting cold outside. Okay, bye!